Come in quietly. Don't slam the door, because tonight we will talking about something that doesn't like sudden noises. Then it's always better to don't wake up the shadows. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a story that lived in the corners of streets. The kind of story that only shows itself when adults aren't paying attention, but children are. In the winter of 1958, in a working-class neighborhood of Glasgow, where narrow streets folded one into another one like dark veins, children began coming home with the same strange story. It was told in different voices, but with identical fear hiding behind their words. They spoke of a tall man who stood at the ends of alleyways long after the streetlights flickered on. A man who never leaned, never shifted his weight, and never acknowledged the cold that driven anyone else indoors. What unsettled them most was not his presence, but his face, locked into a smile so wide and stiff. The smile looked painful, as if it had been stretched into place and forgotten there. He never waved, never spoke, and never followed, choosing instead to simply stare. His eyes were unblinking, fixed directly on whoever had noticed him first, like being seen was everything he ever wanted, had been waiting for. Parents initially brushed off the tales as just kids' imagination, spreading quietly like a cold, without permission and without notice. The police agreed and marked the reports as nothing more than winter nerves and overactive minds. But the children kept seeing him, always in the same posture, always smiling, always closer than the night before. One evening, a boy, tired of being afraid and desperate to prove the man was real, stepped toward him instead of running away. As the distance closed, the man did something he had never done before, something the boy would later struggle to describe without crying. The smile did not fade or move naturally, but widened slowly, stretching downward and outward in a way that no human jaw should allow. The boy ran like the wind, screaming his head off until he hit his front door. For the rest of his life, he would swear that he heard soft breathing behind him on the entire way home. The sighting stopped shortly after, fading into uneasy memory. Weeks later, a local photographer, testing a second-hand camera near the alleyways, developed the roll of film he assumed was ruined by poor light and shaking hands. Most of the images were useless, washed out and distorted. But one frame caused him to sit down in panic in the darkroom, his breath catching in his throat. He stared at a tall, blurred figure standing perfectly still at the end of the alley. Though the face was out of focus, the smile was unmistakable, sharp and deliberate. And worse still, it was not directed at the alley or the street, but straight into the lens, as if the man had known he was being watched, and had waited patiently for the moment to be remembered. The photo never saw the light of day, was never logged, and supposedly got destroyed after officials claimed it was just a shadow trick. Yet, children in the neighborhood continued to avoid certain streets long after they had grown up, especially when night falls. Sometimes, on quiet nights, when they caught a glimpse of themselves in shop windows or dark glass, they'd see that same smile staring back for just a moment too long. Because the most frightening thing about the Smiling Man was never that he watched children, but that he seemed to enjoy being noticed. And to this day, no one can say with certainty that he ever left. So if you found yourself checking reflections while listening to this, you might want to follow me and click like before the smile notices you noticed it. After all, some things only exist as long as we pretend we don't see them, or until they will come out to haunt our minds forever.